Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavagai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwarah Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Vaktum Subodha Vedantam Pravruto Hyabudopyaham Kripaya Yasya Tam Vande Shri Ganesham Punah Punah Vande Saraswatim Devim Sadgurum Me Mahamatim Sita Sameta Shri Ramam Yachantu Shubhadam Matim.
Kritagnyata, gratitude. Shishya uvacha danyoham kritakrityoham prasadatava he guru danyoham kritakrityoham prasadatava he guru bhavaye padayugmam te satatam hridi komalam bhavaye padayugmam te satatam hridi komalam. The disciple said, O Guru, due to your grace, I am blessed. I am fulfilled. I shall always meditate upon your soft, holy lotus feet in my heart. Guru Prasadaha, the blessing of the Guru. Tava bhaktya prasannoham yata jnanam grihitavan. Tava bhaktya prasannoham yata jnanam grihitavan. Brahmanishta sadaivatvam para bhaktiyuto bhava. Brahmanishta sadaivatvam para bhaktiyuto bhava. I am pleased with your devotion and the way you have grasped the knowledge. Now may you remain ever established in the truth and have supreme devotion for God. Rachana Samarpanam, dedication. Ayam Subodha Vedanta Gurudeva Shishakritaha. Ayam Subodha Vedanta Gurudeva Shishakritaha Samarpyayetam tebhyo hi prasanna santu te mayi. Samarpyayetam tebhyo hi prasanna santu te mayi. This work, Subodha Vedanta, was completed through the blessing of God and Sri Gurudev. I dedicate it to them. May they be ever pleased with me.
So here are the final two verses of this text, called Kritagnyata, gratitude. So invoking Guru's grace is much the same as invoking God's grace. Yeah, a lot of it is through worship of Guru, actually. Yeah, and worship of Guru doesn't have to be necessarily a formal type of worship, although that is there. We have Guru Paduka Stotrams. Yeah, we have Guru Paduka or Guru Paduka Puja. So we do Guru Puja. We chant various stotrams, hymns. So as we would invoke the grace of God, so too we invoke the grace of Guru through worship of Guru. Yeah, so that's there. Of course, many of the other things you said were correct. Now, the idea of worshipping the Guru is again not for the benefit of the Guru, but it is so that we develop a higher vision, yeah, a higher vision and a higher attunement. So there's, if at the end of Shvetashvatara Upanishad, It's a very long Upanishad. And the end of that is a very powerful statement and mantra which is there. And it says, Yasya deve parabhaktihi yata deve tata gurau tasyaita katahyaartaha prakashante mahatmanaha. 6th chapter, 23rd verse. And it says, for a person who has supreme devotion to God, and if they have the same supreme devotion, parabhakti, to Guru, then for that person, the depths and insights of the Upanishads are revealed. Yeah, they are revealed. So here it's very interesting because nearly everything about Guru and respect of Guru, worship of Guru, invoking Guru, and purpose of it is all given. So say, how do we invoke it? We have to see that Guru as God. Yeah. When we see that Guru as God, that's how you are invoking their grace. Yeah. That's the most powerful way. That's why worship is there. Yeah. Now, not with every Guru you will have this bhavana. Yeah. There will be one Guru that you get very connected to and you will feel that this is my Sadguru. But even with other teachers that come into our lives, if there is a feeling of divinity, to that person, and a feeling that really God has sent this person as his own mouthpiece. Yeah. We cannot expect that God himself is going to manifest in front of us and teach us. That doesn't happen. Even for great bhaktas, it did not happen. Yeah. Dhruva went to the forest, and even Bhagavan himself did not instruct him. He sent Naradi to instruct him. But he did not instruct him. Dhruva himself was a great bhakta. It led to darshan of Bhagavan. But the actual instruction did not come from God, it came from Naradi. So we have to see that the teacher or Guru is a mouthpiece for the Lord. Yeah, Gurudev would give a nice illustration. He said, everywhere there are broadcasting stations for radios. So the radio stations are sending out radio waves. They are going everywhere. In fact, all through us now, radio waves in everyone's house, we are flooded with it. However, in order to get a clear signal, you must have a radio. And that radio takes that signal and then transfers it, transmits it, transforms it into an audible, understandable, voice, sound that we can understand and enjoy. But otherwise, the radio waves are existing everywhere. But until you have that radio unit, yeah, and you are attuned to it, I mean, you're also tuned up to it. That means you don't get a clear message, and you cannot appreciate the clear message, the beautiful music, melody that is there. In the same way, God's message, the knowledge of the Vedas are essentially called eternal, Sanatana Dharma. They are eternal. They are ever present. They are everywhere. But we are not able to absorb them because we need this unit. And that unit is called Guru. Yeah. And when we think of the Guru in this way, that the Guru is not themselves giving their own personal message, but nothing but a mouthpiece for a message that already exists. Message is already there given by the divine. Guru just becomes a mouthpiece. They take that divine wisdom and now speak it or present it or make it audible and understandable in a language that the student can understand, appreciate, and relate to. Yeah. But the actual knowledge itself is not belonging to the Guru. The wisdom does not belong to the Guru. That all is actually of God. When we have this type of attitude, then it's easy to invoke Guru's grace, because we are not thinking of Guru as an ordinary person, yeah, rather than a mouthpiece of the divine. So this is where worship of Guru, this is where seeing Guru as a divine personality, it helps the student a lot. It helps the student a lot. It is not for the fanfare of the Guru, actually. In fact, depending on those gurus, but many times all this fanfare is just, it takes a lot of time to go through all these things. You know, I've sat with Guruji. He doesn't like pujas and all that. He gets very bored in pujas. In fact, I watch him fall asleep in pujas as well. But he has to do only, he has to do. So he will sit there and watch these pujas and all that, Guru pujas, but he himself gets very tired. And sometimes all these formalities, I remember everywhere he goes, Purna Kumbha, now every house you go, they don't know how to chant, so they hold it there. Na, karma, look at the feet. Na, the I'm also sitting there going, wow, this is painful. So in one house we went to, he told me before going, he said, you start on the last line. Yo Veda, those were a proto, Vedanteja, Pradeshita, everywhere he goes, this Kumbha had to be done. Yeah, they were doing this formality. Didn't even have to be done, people just wanted to do it. And so for the sake of the Guru, it actually can be quite inconvenient, actually, all these formalities. All this worship of the Guru is for the student only. Yeah. When the student comes to see the Guru in a divine light, what happens is the student's mind does not take the words of the teacher so casually. This is the main thing. We can't take the words of the teacher casually, even when the comment and statement is very casual. Sometimes it's presented very casually over a meal, one-liner at the end of a meal, or in a car, one comment is said. If you don't even hear it, that's a bad problem. If you don't even hear that comment, that's a problem, because you're too busily looking for where the hot idli and sambar is it coming or not for me. So if you're too preoccupied with idli, sambar, and how you're going to you will miss that altogether. So that's a big problem. I've sat on our big shut table watching Swamiji and devotees. It's very fascinating. Because sometimes the devotees miss some big things. Some big nuggets of wisdom are missed because they're too busy looking for a nugget of idli coming through. So these things happen. So as much as the comment may appear to be casual, if the student takes it on very seriously, it can lead to a very large shift and change in their sadhana and evolution. Yeah. Because one thing is, our spiritual teachers spend all their time analyzing the mind only. They're not sitting there looking at markets and stocks and how to raise children and all these type of things. Main thing is they're looking at how to deal with this mind, the various expressions of the mind, the various challenges that the mind presents, vasanas, habits, and how a thought expresses as words, expresses as behavior. So from a scientific point of view, they're almost master psychologists, which means they can see, even just from expressions that are used, what belief patterns they portray. Yeah. And thus, when certain comments are made, even in a casual setting, that comment is many times directed towards a limiting belief pattern that the student has. See, when our friends and our spouse and our other people make comments, sometimes these comments are not accurate. They are more that person venting. That person is venting. And so because they're venting and they keep on complaining about something about you, yeah, then what happens is we learn to also disregard. We can't take that on because too much criticism we can't deal with. Yeah. So we learn to disregard such comments. So sometimes friends say, certain things are always late, always like this. Some spouse always said never does this, never does that, all these things. And sometimes we are so wounded by pain that we can't even actually recognize the message behind it. And so our mind does develop this habit of selective filtering. Yeah, that we start filtering comments that are pleasant, and we start ignoring comments that are unpleasant. And this is the fastest way to stagnate in progress anyway. Yeah. When you decide only to hear certain things and you don't want to hear other things about yourself, that's when stagnation will take place. But with Guru, we must be alert, very alert, because Guru does not have personal issues with that person. Their life is not dependent on that person, because their life, they're not connected to that person in that way. They are not your spouse that lives with you and then your behavior becomes a big inconvenience for them. They are not your child that is feeling suffocated under your tyrannical rule and therefore, wants to sit there and give you one back. Or they're not a parent that is sitting there because of 30 years of headaches you caused them. Finally, they're going to give you a bit of a dig as well. They don't have any of these type of long-term repressed type of feelings. Guru's relationship is very fresh. It's very fresh. It's in the moment. Yeah. And that's why even our gurus, we don't live with our gurus. They also don't live with us. This is a good thing, because the minute you live with people, this type of frustration will come. Our gurus come 6 days and then go back to Mumbai only. That's it. And they will not stay with us. Doesn't matter how much you invite them, they won't. They say, please, no, want to keep traveling, want to go see other people. Yeah. It's a very sensible relationship. Because when you see a person for 6 days alone, you won't get that frustrated by that person. Yeah. Therefore, your connection with that person always remains objective. Once you live with people, and things become a bit challenging. And so we must understand that even casual comments should not be taken casually. This is the point. Otherwise, we are missing out on very big gems. We are missing out that we have people in front of us that understand the mind in so much depth. They understand moksha. They understand us. Between understanding us and understanding the mind, there is so much to gain from that. Yeah. And thus, if we just dismiss that comment, we can lose a lot. Well, we lose out. That's all there is to it. Yeah. Therefore, the idea of worshipping the Guru was that this heightened alertness was there when Guru said something. Think about it. We study Bhagavad Gita, and great commentators have commented on every word that Bhagavan has used. No one dismisses any part of our Shastra casually. Every word is analyzed and commented on. Shankaracharya has done that with the Bhagavad Gita, and many others have. Now, Shankaracharya has commented on the words of the Lord. Then people have commentated on Shankaracharya's commentary. And then people have done commentary on Shankaracharya's commentary on this, on that. On Brahma Sutra Bhashya, there is about, after that Bhashya, on one Bhashya, after the next Bhashya, after the next Bhashya, there's about 5 different Bhashyas going on. That's how much reverence the student is having for the words of the teacher. That on one word, a commentary is written. Now, we are used to words in book form, so we'll sit there and analyze it in book form, and if it's written in Sanskrit, we think it's very sacred, Devanagari Bhasha, these are important. But you must understand, when you're in the presence of a guru, the words coming out of their mouth are as good as the Shastra. Thus, the purpose of invoking grace and worshipping Guru is actually to get this heightened sense of alertness. Yeah, you must be very alert. And words that are said should not be taken casually. They should be used for deep introspection. Deep introspection, not just dismissed casually. Yeah. So in this way, this can become the greatest form of blessing that we can get. This is the greatest form. Yeah. Invoking grace. Different ways to thank Guru. Right? So in terms of different ways to thank our Guru, it says that in the Shastra it says, Priyam Dhanamahritya. One should give that dhanam, which is priyam. Dhanam means wealth or gift, which is priyam. Yeah. So dear, priyam means dear to the Guru. So if one is tuned up to the teacher, then one will understand what is dear to the teacher. Yeah. Sometimes our concept of Guru Dakshina, give a big bowl of fruits. Now, is it one teacher is sitting there and you give 20 fruits to that one? Because no one wants to give 1 or 2 fruits. So if people want to make it look a bit grand, so give big basket of fruits. Now, how is one teacher going to eat all these fruits? Yeah. I said, no, teacher, you distribute to everyone else. Now he's going to set up a shop and start some sort of thing, and they start distributing, because these fruits go 7 days before they go bad. So he has to now set up a stall outside on his nature strip. Come on, everyone take fruit. And his climate of COVID, who's going to take anything from you anyway? So, I know music teachers that have this problem. That on Vijay Dashmi, all the students come and big bundles of fruit, and that music teacher has to sit there and find out ways to distribute to everyone. So the next day they go down to these, what do you call, the homeless shelters and distribute. I'm like, my God, this is so much work for that music teacher. I don't think that dakshina actually became any dakshina. It just became added responsibility and homework for that teacher. That is not attunement with the teacher. You're not giving priyam dhanam. So you have to find out what that teacher wants and give. Once I was in the Himalayas, and we stayed overnight in one sadhu's house. It was in a cave, actually. It's quite interesting. And I felt so grateful that he had accommodated us that evening. Everyone gave him money. 4 of us were there. They all gave him money. I had this Swiss Army pocket knife, And these are sadhus living in cave. These are not people living part of organization. People living in a cave only. And I had just bought this brand new Swiss Army knife from Australia, gone to India, and I was traveling for 6 months in India. And I thought I could use it. It would be quite useful in India in case, you have to cut something, do something. It's got lots of different functions. I thought I'm not going to give him money because I saw him cutting vegetables and his knife was looking not very, a bit odd and rusted and a bit old. So I thought I will give him this knife. So I gave him this knife. His eyes lit up. Right? Now, 6 months later, I was journeying, he was journeying as well. We met in another ashram. And he came up to me. He recognized me. I didn't recognize him. He recognized me, sat next to me. And he started going on and on about how that knife was so useful for him. He said this knife was so, he said, money comes and goes. He said, this money will all come and go, but this knife is very useful. He said, that was I felt so happy that I gave that to him. That thought came at that time. By God's grace, that thought came, give the knife. Don't give money. I was ready to give money. But I gave that. He said, this thing is the most, this so useful. 6 months later, I met him and he came and told me that. So bizarre, in a different ashram. I met him in the Himalayas, first time, and the second time I met him was in Ramana Ashram, Tiruvannamalai, on the Skandaguha. It's bizarre that we met again, actually. But when you give something that is dear to them, that is the best Guru Dakshina. And that's a sign that you are tuned to that teacher, because you can understand what they want, if they want anything, actually. Sometimes they don't want anything either. Guruji used to say, for me, give love. For mission, you have to give money. Money is for the mission. But for me, I only want love. That's it. He said, I don't need all this. And I have seen people give money to Guruji and they say, Guruji, this is for you personally. They say, you cannot put it into the mission account. They say, we want you to spend it. Now, what is he going to do spending money? It's not like he's going to a shopping center tomorrow to go buy things, It's a very bizarre type of request. This lady gave him, she was quite wealthy, she gave him a big sum of money, US dollars. And her instruction is that is for you personally. not to go into mission account. It was very interesting. So you know what he did? He gave it out to devotees. He gave that money to the devotees only. Because he said, lady said, I cannot give it to the mission. He gave to brahmacharis, and then he gave to devotees. I saw him do this. I was very shocked. But that's because they had put that condition. This is for you. This is not to go to the mission account. He didn't even want the money. He got no use for the money. So in this way, you must be attuned to the teacher. Then you will find out what that teacher needs. Only one time I saw him take something which he enjoyed, was orange cushion. He took an orange cushion for meditation. He went to one ashram and he saw the orange cushion. He said, I like this, I'm going to take this. That was a $5 cushion he took. Back to his bag. I like people giving him all this money, thousands of dollars. A $5 cushion, that thing he wanted. He put that in his bag. These things. So, attunement to the teacher to find out what they want. Now, last question. What is the significance of Guru Dakshina? And how does it benefit the student? We know, obviously, from a transactional point of view, it appears to benefit the teacher. The teacher is getting the gift. Dakshina means gift. Guru Dakshina, gift to the teacher. What's more important is, why is it important that this tradition exists? Yeah. Now, if we see in our tradition, when you study under a teacher, you study for free. Yeah. So our tradition is you go to a teacher and first, actually, they check your qualifications. So initially, qualifications are checked. You have to be recommended by someone. You can't just walk in. This is a tradition. In tradition, you have to be recommended by a local teacher to go study under a proper teacher. Yeah. So even Gurudev could not study under Tapovanji Maharaj until he was recommended by Swami Shivananda. You cannot just walk up to Tapovanji Maharaj and say, teach me. Nothing doing. Letter of qualification that you are a sincere student, you are known to the local sannyasis, the local villages, people know who you are, you're authentic, you are not there for the wrong reasons. So a letter of recommendation is required. Then you have to do seva. Yeah. Then only teaching starts. Then after the teaching, then dakshina is offered. So in this system, the teaching is for free. Yeah, in this system. But the system is preceded by Guru Seva and recommendation. Now, modern system, we don't do the first part. There's no Guru Seva and there's no recommendation. Anyone just gets the YouTube or Zoom link and then that's it, they're on. All right, so this is now what happens when you do missionary work. This is what happens. So, in the tradition of that Guru Dakshina, why that was so important, from the student's point of view, the key to understand, this is a psychology of man. The psychology of man is such that whenever a value is, whenever I should say, some sort of gift or some sort of object of value is put next to what you have received, yeah, in this case, the knowledge, the teachings, then what happens is the knowledge is to actually gain value in your mind. That's the idea. The idea is that we have to increase the value of the knowledge we have gained. That's the idea. This psychology that we somehow have to increase the value of it. We must see that knowledge as being of great value. Yeah. Now, if you don't see it as having great value, you will not pay attention to it and you will not imbibe it. Again, an attitude of being very casual comes. Yeah. We end up having a very casual attitude. It's there. We can get it later. We can watch the, the YouTubes. We can watch all these things. So now casual attitude comes that all of a sudden we don't pay full attention at the time of receiving that knowledge. When you don't pay full attention, there's a lot of things you lose out. Yeah. Because there's more than an information transfer that's taking place. There's actually a transfer of energy also that is taking place between teacher and taught, especially in a live setting. You know, when you're sitting in front of a teacher, there's an energy that's transferred. Yeah. Teacher is always operating at a higher energy inspired by Shastra. Yeah. Then that energy plus knowledge and wisdom is passed on to the student. If we don't create some sort of value for that knowledge, it does not remain with us. It does not remain with us. And this is not because the teacher has cursed you or anything like that. This is purely because anything in life which you don't value, you don't keep. You forget about. Think about like how many holidays we've been on and we bought some little item from that place and then we forgot about it. Some trinket, something, some souvenir. Yeah. And then we store it in some cupboard, we lock it away, and then we forget it's even there. And only when we move house do we realize this thing was there. Because when we bought that little keychain, key ring, we had no value for it. It was just a souvenir to show that I have gone to, Paris. So a little Eiffel Tower, then somewhere on the shelf, if we even had that thing. Yeah. So when you don't give something value, it slips out of your mind. It just slips out of your mind. So now when the student starts giving a gift, sacrificing and offering something, what's happening for this knowledge? Now the knowledge is increasing in value. Why? Because the student is having to make an offering and a sacrifice. To make a sacrifice and offering means that thing must be important. Otherwise you won't. Think about the people around us. Who will we sacrifice for? Who do we serve and sacrifice? Those who are nearest and dearest. We don't serve and sacrifice for every person who walks on the street. But we will make major sacrifice and life-changing adjustments for near and dear ones. Yeah. So when I start making this dakshina, what that means is I am willing to change my life. I am willing to give an offering. I am willing to sacrifice. Why? Not because the teacher needs it, but because this will increase the value of the knowledge I have received. And by increasing the value of the knowledge, my chances of retaining it become higher. And my chances of absorbing it become higher because now it is precious. It is precious. So this is why the concept of Guru Dakshina is beneficial to the student because it increases the value of the knowledge, yeah, in the mind of the student. Like I said, many times teacher may not want anything, yeah. And that's why you can have different forms of dakshina and all that, because some students, some teachers who live, as renunciates that are living in like parivrajakas, recluses, living in huts, they may not want anything fancy, yeah. But still, the student must find some way to make an offering that is dear to that teacher. So that knowledge remains burning brightly even after interaction and contact with teacher is over. And you see, on this note also, I was also watching a few videos recently, and our Swamis only had said, Gurudev said it once, and also Swami Mitrananda said the message. Nice. He said, you must understand, our physical relationship with teacher, it will be finite. It will not go on forever. There will be a point in time where that relationship is, physical relationship ends. One teacher also may take Mahasamadhi, or just circumstances in life are such that you get distanced physically. These things happen. It is part of the journey. because we cannot keep holding on to a physical form. As we keep holding on to a physical form, we also become lazy. Because I think teacher is there, go ask him a question. Teacher is there, every week he'll teach. Teacher is there, no problem. So we also don't think for ourselves. Why? Teacher is there. Teacher is there. Now, if you were to say your time with the teacher is finite, if your time with anyone is finite, don't you then start paying more attention to that person? But when you have an assumption that the time with that person goes on forever, they say, next time we'll ask question, next time we'll do, next time. The procrastination comes in. Yeah. So in one of the talks I heard, he said teacher should not make student dependent. That means at some point in time, teachers should also kind of distance themselves from that student. You know, Gurudev, when he studied under Ponji Maharaj, always with the teacher, there'll be some devotees that just sit around. But you know, for those Uttamadhikaris, teacher will not allow that. Teacher will send the best students, he'll send away. Gurudev also tried to one time sit with the Ponji Maharaj. And Maharaj just looked at him and said, what are you doing here? Huh? Go, meditate. Yeah, you don't need to sit here. He sent him away. Gurudev's time with the Ponji Maharaj was very short, actually. He studied under him for about 2.5 years. Then after that, Gurudev started the mission. And then by 1957, which is really 8 years, 10 years in total, his time with the Ponji Maharaj was over. Maharaj took Mahasamadhi after that. Yeah. So we must also understand that time with teacher is not going to be forever. There's a finite span. Therefore, what's more important, rather than just a relationship with a physical entity, is that we must learn to value what that person stood for. That knowledge, that wisdom, that devotion, that dispassion. That is what becomes important. That should seep into the depths of our heart and keep us going even when there is no further physical relationship with teacher. There is no more meeting with teacher. This jnana, bhakti, vairagya, that should keep us going. And we should become self-motivated. We should become self-driven. We should become inspired to progress our own sadhana rather than wait for teacher. For that to happen, this jnana, bhakti, vairagya, we must give it so much value. And that's why this dakshana is to increase the value of jnana, bhakti, vairagya, because these are the motivators that have to keep us going even when time with Guru is over. Yeah. That's why that dakshana is important. Yeah. Dakshana is just a form of increasing this value. That's what it is. Yeah. That's the purpose behind it. Okay. So with this, Dhanyoham kritikrityoham prasada tava he guru bhavaye padmayugmam te satatam. So with that, we've actually concluded the text. On this text, we can just chant the first verse again. That's how in our tradition we conclude things. Vaktum Subodha Vedantam Pravritto Hyabudopyam Krupaya Yasyatam Bande Shri Ganesham Punah Punaha Bande Saraswatim Devim Sadgurum Me Mahamatim Sita Sameta Shri Ramam Yachantu Shubhadham Matim. Okay, with that, by the grace and blessings of God and Gurudev and Guruji for composing this, we have come to enjoy and benefit from this Subodha Vedanta.